Now I know. They told me his name, his address, his mother's name, his father's name, all these things about God. So I was in ecstasy. Because I went to those meetings and I didn't feel anything. They did. I could see them dancing, sweating, it seemed very real. But I had nothing. But I wasn't meant to have that. So then I got the Holy Spirit. I got super soul. I got to understand what the Holy Spirit was, who he was, what he did, how he's just sitting there watching everything, saying, no, do this, don't do that, don't do that. And we're just running around like crazy people. I got to learn all these things instantly. In days. I knew so much in a few days I didn't know my whole life. 20 years I didn't know anything. Now all this stuff is flooding into us. All of us, we've experienced this. There's nothing better than being converted. I say even I feel sorry sometimes for our children who grew up in Krishna consciousness. That experience after millions and millions of lifetimes searching. And then Prabhupada just hands them to you. He just handed them to me. Now I'm reading Krishna book, and he's laughing and laughing and laughing. And I said, there, that's my born again. That's the born again I want. That's what I wanted. And I saw Prabhupada. He had a sense of humor. He could laugh. I never saw anyone laugh so much as a devotee. I had never seen it before. And I said, that's what I want. But I had it. And when I saw his reaction to Krishna book, it's amazing. No one else reading. Who does that? He did it. Because he's pure devotee. He's experiencing it. We learned that through Bhagavad Gita. Had like that television screen is described. What I'm talking, he's seeing everything. He's right there. So the next day, I had a story, and I was convinced, and I have no idea why, I convinced myself that when I read this Krishna book story to Prabhupada, I'm going to come up to this one line, and when I read this line, he's going to do the exact same thing he did yesterday. I just knew it. I thought he would. I don't know why. I mean, because I was so foolish and naive, and I just thought it had to, because to me I thought it was really, really funny. So the next day we're in there, and sometimes Prabhupada would talk, say wonderful things. He said, what color is the sky? No, he didn't answer what color. I already blew that. We'll go over that. So the next day I'm reading, he looks, read. So I had the story, I had that marker in it. The story of David Gorilla. You know that story? Big demon, gorilla, ape. Big beast, nasty, and very offensive. He was a demon. So I knew in this story he does all kinds of things that were just very bad. And I thought it was very funny, being a young boy. Boys, we have a certain sense of humor, Sometimes they call it like toilet humor. In America, they say, men are fascinated, boys are fascinated with nasty things, So I thought, when I read this line, it's going to happen. So my heart's already beating. My blood pressure is high as a young man. My blood pressure is way up there. I can't wait. And I'm not only excited, I'm nervous. So he looks, go ahead, read. So I had this story. So I start reading, and it's just within the first few minutes of the story. So what did this nasty gorilla do, this ape? He's watching the jugya the Brahmins are doing. So he decides to spoil it. And he comes out from behind the bushes and he starts passing urine. That's what I did. I thought that was funny. So I'm leading up to this line, and I say it. What do you think happened? The exact same thing he did yesterday. He did it again, just as I saw it in my head. I saw the whole, and he did it. he starts laughing and laughing and laughing and slapping his leg. And so now we're all in ecstasy laughing. We're not laughing because of the story. We're laughing because he's laughing about the story. This is how we connect to Krishna through the spiritual master. This is the process. We don't know Krishna. I mean, to this day, you're not going to hear me talk about Krishna here because I don't know him. But I know Prabhupada a little bit. That experience I have. And he knows Krishna. That's what he said. So it's just as good. There's no difference. He knows Krishna so much that he was in ecstasy. He couldn't contain himself when he saw what he was doing, when he heard, when he saw the experience. He just was in ecstasy. Imagine what's ahead for us to become Krishna conscious. It's not all... See, this ISKCON society, these societies, these structures, this is our service. This is not our goal. Goal, of course, always serve the spiritual master. Right there in New Dwarka, in his room, Prabhupada called me up one day. He just called me up. No one else was there. I came in, offered obeisances, and came right beside him. He said, we're not so advanced that we think I want to come back life after life to do service. He said, we're not so advanced. He said, we want to go back home. We want that desire to go back home, back to Godhead, to be with Krishna. He said, we want that desire. He kept saying, we're not so advanced, which means he was telling me, you're not so advanced. Prabhupada said, I've taken all these rascals as disciples. He said, that's the one thing I did wrong. He said, if I made any mistake, it was taking so many nonsense disciples. He said, but I'm willing to go to hell to do my service. But he was never in hell. The devotee's never in hell. He was with Krishna all the time. So I saw that. Looking back, it was just amazing that he actually did that. He obviously knew my mind, and whether, who knows why he did, but he did it. And looking back, I think that was pretty amazing, had to do that. But I'm sure, again, is all he did was he kept putting those different hooks in me. He was hooking me with his very self, with his qualities, with his personality, his love, his humor, even his chastisement, everything he could do, and it could be funny. What time do we go to? Any questions so far? Any special thing you'd like to hear? Anything, or I can go on?